front kind of coming in kind of nice.
Oh, for real? Where you are?
Yeah, and Raleigh is coming in.
I didn't blown through. Did you get any of that at all?
We got like a half hour worth of rain and like a windy day where them days where the trees are always bent over and the clouds are moving fast.
Yeah.
I mean, we got like a half hour, 20 minutes of rain, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank God for that.
Jersey and New York got pummeled.
New Jersey got pummeled last night, huh?
Yeah.
Last night again.
I think it was last night. The night before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was the night before, or the night before that even. Because the subways were flooded, all that shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, so we live and shit.
Everybody coming in, we're talking about hurricanes today.
Hell yeah.
Oh shit, we
That's right. We got a little. The show goes on at 12, bro. We get rolling, bro.
Fuck it.
It's all good, man. But,
hurricanes are important too. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the people who have to deal with the hurricanes, the aftermath of Ida. People in Louisiana. Our thoughts go out to them. People in New York, our thoughts go out to them. People in Jersey, our thoughts go out to them. So it is what it is, man. We're not one track minded over here. We get it done on all levels.
Yeah, this, you guys know this. This show we talk about dating and sex and relationships on the Manhood Skill Set Show. But most importantly, we talk about life and shit. That's what's most important. We're all in the same journey together. So let's welcome you all. Thank you all for fucking with us today on the Manhood is a Skill Set Show. I'm CJ. You can find me on social media at Twitter, Instagram, even though I'm not on Instagram that a whole lot, but Twitter and Facebook, Chairman Siege, that's with 3 E's. Want to shout out our brother, Kerry, K-Zaggin 20. He's he's out there on a cruise, getting ready. If they're not underway, they will be soon. Going on a family cruise. He's going where a vacation, where a gangster vacation with sandals and shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Chancletas.
Yeah. So shout out to Kerry. We're on the K-Zaggin 20 YouTube channel. Of course, the Manhood's a Skill Set Show is live and direct. Go to manhoodsaskillset.com for Kerry's videos, for consultations, all that shit, merch. Get you a fly ass shirt. And don't forget that we have the Manhood's a Skill Set Show in podcast form as well on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you like to listen to your podcast. Last week's show that we had with Miles joining us, where we had only weak men use clout to mislead women for sexual favors, is on there now. I still want to work in that Art of Cunnilingus episode we did a couple weeks ago, so that one might be within the next couple episodes. But without further ado, I want to turn it over to Dave and Miles and let them introduce themselves as well. Plug what you got going on, fellas.
Go ahead, Miles. I'll go last.
Okay. All right. It's your boy, Miles Cunningham. And this is the Bad Boy membership takeover of the Manhood is a Skill Set Show. Nah. Shout out to Kerry for blessing me with the opportunity to kind of stand in, for him, because I like the trifecta situation of the show. You know what I'm saying? And I just figured let's not mess that up. So if I'll step in and we'll keep it moving. And I appreciate the guys for welcoming me. And we had our brainstorming sessions and everything was cool. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate that. Shout out to CJ for getting a cut and a shape up. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, I needed that. I'm gonna give you that too.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just happy to be here. Remember, shout out to Lucario, shout out to the supporters of the Bad Boy membership. But if you're trying to get on the Bad Boy membership, go to badboymembership.com. Also, if you're trying to schedule a consultation with me, go to my Instagram, Miles in the Game on Instagram, and the link is in the description, and you can set up a 60-minute consultation with your boy. All right, so let's get it started. Appreciate being here, guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Well, obviously everybody knows me, Disorder, Dave. It's me, the Rattlesnakes, the Chuchados, a lawnmower, a fan. We got all this stuff. So I'm gonna let these guys get it jumped off real quick. I'm gonna back out for a second and move inside where it's a little more quiet, a little less disruptions. Okay. So I will see you guys here in about 2 minutes. All right.
All righty.
All right. So thanks to everyone who's jumped in, fucking with us here. Unique 79. King Grady, Duke of Lux, Antoine Jackson, Joe Blast, True Color, let's see, Geek Surgeon, again, Paul in Singapore, 9559. Let's see, Iceberg, what's going on? If I missed you, I'll shout you out here. Prime time 21. What's happening? All right. So today's topic, it is, why do hopeless romantic men lose with women? And you think about it, it's funny with that title, with the three of us hosting the show, because I know I've described myself as hopeless romantic on this show. Dave has as well, and you have hopeless romantic tendencies, if nothing else. So it is kind of funny that we're tackling this as a trifecta. But there is something to what a hopeless romantic is and what a hopeless romantic is not. So we want to discuss and have conversations on those type of characteristics, and kind of break down the dynamic when it comes to dating and relations and sex and all that shit. Because just because you are hopeless romantic doesn't necessarily mean you will lose with women, or you can lose with women. There's a winning formula you can write. So hopefully at the end of the show, if you are a self-professed hopeless romantic or hopeless romantic in denial, hopefully this show will spur some dialogue and some thought to help you out in your adventure in life.
Facts.
All right, so let's start off with what the definition. And Miles, you sent this to us when we were doing our show prep. The source is from brides.com. The article is titled "What is a Hope?" or 11 times you may be a hopeless romantic, written in January of this year. So it starts off with definition of a hopeless romantic: someone who continues to believe in love, no matter the struggles they might have experienced in the past. They choose to see the positive in relationships over the negative, believing wholeheartedly that love conquers all. Goddamn, if I'm not guilty of that shit, that crazy thinking in my past. Usually they dream and fantasize about people they like, give a lot of energy to romantic pursuits, and have a deep desire for love and partnership. So in your words, what does, and then you have clients and consultations, do any of them fall in that hopeless romantic category?
Man, let me tell you, the clients that I've had so far, honestly, we haven't even got to that point yet.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still trying to, like, the clients that I have, they still trying to be hopeless romantics for themselves.
How do you mean?
Meaning they're still at that level where they're trying to like be comfortable with who they are, be comfortable in their own skin. You know what I'm saying? So I do a lot of that. There's a lot of that when it comes to my consultations. Usually guys that are really having trouble with confidence and self-esteem and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So, appreciate them. But yeah, with them, we're not even at that point. But for me, the part that kills me is the part that says, they believe that love
conquers all, right?
Love conquers all. Yeah. And I used to believe that. I used to really believe that. I used to think that love is the answer to everything. You understand? I used to think that, like, no matter what happens, as long as you love the person and they love you, that, no matter what type of complications come on down the road, that it's going to be all right. I used to bypass disrespectful behavior. I used to bypass a lot of dumb shit in relationships, just thinking that, oh, well, as long as I love the person, as long as I feel a certain way about them, then everything will work itself out. You understand? And I used to believe that shit. I used to do extra shit, thinking that, oh, well, if I do this thing, it'll help the relationship. Like, I remember one time I bought a fucking dog. I bought a puppy for the sake of the relationship. Right. Because I felt like, that's going to help. You know what I'm saying? Because I was with a woman at the time that had kids and all that type of shit. So I figure if I buy the dog will, like, bring us all closer together and this, that, and the third. And ultimately it did. You know what I'm saying? But there's still this thing called reality, and that no matter how much you believe in love, you still got to live life in real terms.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why at this point in my career, I would consider myself to be a player with hopeless romantic tendencies. You understand? Meaning that I can recognize when it's warranted for me to play the hopeless romantic card in a given situation. Right. When a woman has shown me time and time again that she's worthy of that type of treatment, when she's shown me that time and time again consistently, that me doing that won't go to her head or change the dynamics of the relationship. You understand? Because as you'll see, as we get into, a lot of times when you do certain romantic things for a female, it's like certain expectations and certain misconceptions may come with those gestures that we may not be ready for. You get what I'm saying? Right. So at this point in the game, I'm not just a hopeless romantic just like that. Like I have hopeless romantic tendencies, but I try to pick and choose my spots. You understand? And I try to say to myself, okay, well, is this situation deserving of that? Is it necessary? Is it warranted? Because I can't just be giving out rose petals and foot rubs and rosemary baths to every female. You understand what I'm saying? It just yeah. You feel me? So yeah. But Dave, what's your take on it? As far as the definition of hopeless romantic. Oh, he's muted.
Yeah, you muted, fam.
My bad. Forgot to unmute. The definition is, I mean, it makes sense as how I think a lot of people view what a hopeless romantic is. But the other day when you had sent that over, I was reading, I'm like, that's not necessarily how I look at it and the way that I would consider myself a hopeless romantic. Right. And it's we had a lot of conversations. I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit more while we were on the call about different scenarios about what it means to be a hopeless romantic, and plugging the title as far as hopeless romantics losing. I don't think that that's the case all the time. I think that it is a misunderstanding of what a hopeless romantic is, or somebody who has romantic tendencies. How they choose to treat people, I think, is more of what that is. We were talking about walking on the road, for example. That opening doors for people, things like that is I don't consider that being a hopeless romantic gesture. I consider that just being a gentleman and being brought up right kind of thing. So I know we're going to touch on those a little bit later and get in a little more detail about that. But for me, it's always been, like I've said it before, I mean, CJ knows my parents have always been a very strong role model for my idea of what a relationship should be. I mean, it's 47 years strong now for them. And
I just saw them yesterday.
Yeah, and it's been a good thing the whole way through. I mean, very few issues, trials, tribulations, anything like that you might think most people in an almost 50-year relationship have gone through. And if they have, they managed to keep it very private amongst themselves while they worked it out, because none of us knew anything like that was going on. So I've that's kind of been that's why I haven't been married yet. That is why when I get married next month, I feel that it is with the person who fits that profile for me. That's what I want. That's who I want. That's what I want to be with. So
nice.
Is this breaking news, or did we announce this on the show before? I can't remember that you're actually getting married next month.
Most people already think we're married.
So, yeah, no. I thought so.
But they're tired of living in sin, so they're gonna be illegal here at the end of October. So
that's so sweet. Yeah, you guys are done shacking up. That's
nice. Dave's not tired of living in sin. But there we go. But yeah, so definitely shout out, congratulations. If we hadn't officially announced it, but yeah, Dave and Sin tying a knot officially at the end.
Nice. Congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so the part about giving a lot of energy to romantic pursuits. I'm a self-described hopeless romantic in recovery and shit. So I'm definitely guilty, especially in the beginning, of giving that romantic energy to someone who started to, beyond the sexual attraction, started to kind of hit my mind and my heart a little bit. I used to get real excited, get that new car smell is what I called it. And so I used to put a lot of energy to wooing and winning, and inadvertently, in some regards, creating unrealistic expectations of what this is going to be about. You know what I'm saying? I'm not always going to lavish you with guilt. I'm not going to do that all the time and shit. But that is something that I've had to learn to, like you said before. You're hopeless romantic to those who deserve it and where the situation warrants it, and things of that nature. So being a romantic and being hopeless romantic are not necessarily the same thing.
No, because there ain't nobody hopeless over here.
Nope.
You know, a hopeless romantic is a person who they see that it's not warranted and they still do it because they still believe in something that's not really there, right? Yeah. So they see a woman that she's not the type of woman that they really like. She doesn't respect them. Maybe the level of interest is low, but it's like, oh well, maybe if maybe if I buy her flowers, maybe if I wash her hair, maybe if I rub her feet, she'll come around. And the worst gesture to me is those guys that are in a horrible relationship and then they say, well, maybe once I put a ring on it, which is like one of the ultimate, hopeless romantic gestures, right? Or at least romantic gestures, that she'll change. Once I put a ring on it, then she'll change. Once I make her my wife, then she'll actually become a wife. And the thing is, what a lot of people don't understand is that usually people are showing you exactly who they are. Especially over a good period of time, which is why, like Lucario and myself, we talk about vetting a chick over 12 to 18 months. We give it a certain amount of time, for us to get to know her and for her to get to know us, because I want a woman who's respectful, submissive, and I'm sure she wants a man who wants to lead, who wants to protect, who wants to provide, right? But do I deserve, when she gets to know me, do I deserve that submission and that loyalty and that following, right? And as I get to know her, does she deserve the protection and provision and leadership? Does she really deserve it, right? And that's what the vetting process is about. I'm not putting you through the ringer just to put you through the ringer. I'm putting you through the vetting process to make sure that, see, I have this thing where it's like, once we realize that we can love each other with nothing, then I feel like I have the freedom to give you everything.
Bam.
Right?
For real. And we kind of talked about that in previous shows as well. Carrie thinks all men must go through adversity and shit by themselves, which I agree with. There is something to that, but there is also something to going through shit and going through hell with that partner and shit, and kind of off topic a little bit, but that is one of the, particularly when y'all are in that vetting and that feeling out each other process. She's going through some shit, you're going through some shit. And how do you handle that when you're going through that adversity? How do you handle your dating life? How do you handle your relationships? What will never change about you no matter what you're going through and shit? Right. And it's so important to see the best and the worst out of people, or not even out of people, but out of their circumstances, how they handle the high and the low of life.
Exactly. So and I think that's the reason why the hopeless romantics lose with women. Right, because there's no requirements to the romantic gestures. Why? Because they're hopeless, right? Because they're hopeless at providing those gestures without any conditions or any requirements, right? Because here's the thing that a lot of people are not going to understand necessarily, right? Because the average woman is like, oh, why are you guys saying all this negative things about hopeless romantics? Like, those are the type of people that have, some of the best relationships and so on and so forth. But the thing is that what we need to understand to some respect is that as a hopeless romantic, based on the definition, I'm willing to bestow those type of gestures to pretty much anyone. Mm-hmm. Right? That's why they call it a hopeless romantic, because that person, as soon as somebody shows him some type of attention, I'm basically talking about guys. As soon as any woman shows him any little bit of attention, he'll go to a Hooters, and just because the waitress is flirting with him, he automatically thinks that it's time for them to get married. Yeah, when the woman is simply doing her job. Yeah. It's her job to make you feel, to flirt with you a little bit, to push the implied, sexual nature of the atmosphere and the establishment, obviously, right? But the hopeless romantic is like, oh my God, I should go next door to the flower shop and buy her a bouquet of flowers because she's being so nice to me. You understand? And that's the problem with hopeless romantics, and that's why they lose, because even the women who claim that they like a hopeless romantic, they don't realize that the hopeless romantic will do that shit to almost any woman.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, if the hopeless romantic is willing to do that to any woman, then what makes you special to the hopeless romantic? You see what I'm saying? What makes you particularly like, click with the hopeless romantic? What makes the relationship special about the hopeless romantic when he's willing to do that with any woman who winks at him? Right? And it's the same thing with us as guys. It's like, well, I want you to want to follow me, but I need you to understand that I'm different from any man you ever been with. Right? Because I'm me and the other guy's him. I'm not saying I'm better, but I'm just different. So that means you're gonna treat me the way I'm supposed to be treated, meaning you're gonna treat me particularly the way you're supposed to treat me, as opposed to the way you would treat that guy or whoever else. Right? And that's what, we talk about, like, identity and being in touch with exactly who you are for that very reason. Because I want you to treat me differently, not because I told you to, but because you understand and you feel the difference when you're with me, and vice versa.
Right.
Right?
I agree 100%.
So I feel like that's like the overall reason why a lot of quote unquote hopeless romantics lose with women, because there's nothing special about the man, and as a result, even though he's bestowing these romantic gestures on a woman, there's actually nothing inherently special about her either. You see what I'm saying? And that's where it falls short.
Sid had said earlier too, it made a lot of sense too, that anything hopeless is not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we talk about the hopeless romantic losing with women, then in that sense, yeah, what you're talking about right now, and guys who go out of their way to innately just act this way towards women because that's just how they feel, thinking that something's going to come about it, is those are the ones who lose with women. Now, being romantic, I think, like we talk about, is something completely different, and it's not something that we give to everybody. The way I am is not something that I'm not going to go to the grocery store and the cashier smiles at me and all of a sudden I'm going to talk to her the same way that I talk to my woman. You know what I mean? So
right, exactly. Exactly.
Speaking of sin, she had a question earlier. She said, "Would you all agree that the saying should be love of self conquers all?"
Yes, I agree. I agree actually, because I believe once you have a good love of self, that means there's also what goes with that is a certain understanding of self, right? And I think once you truly understand who you are, and once you are comfortable in your skin and you're confident about who you are, I think that's what truly conquers all, because everything from there is what allows you to attract certain people in or out of your life. You understand what I'm saying? So that in itself will give you the actual life that you deserve based on the honest truth of who you are.
Yeah. I don't know if it conquers all, but it definitely is a hell of a start, and it is fucking vital, man, because I don't know, when I was going through my business arrangement scenario with a lady, before I met my current wife. That's funny. Just funny saying it like that, my current wife. But yeah, she the way she said it kind of made sense. Self-love is having those borders and those boundaries in your life and stuff. And I believe the boundaries were the things that were hard and fast. Those are the bedrocks of who I am. I won't compromise those for anybody. And borders change all the time. If you look at history, look at map borders change all the time. The borders are the things that you can accept from the other person. Things that you can live with, without compromising who you are. Your borders and your boundaries and stuff. So that definitely is a bedrock of self-love. And you do that consistently, there is hope, especially if you fall in that hopeless romantic category. That was fire. and
So the romantic category. Say
it again.
I said we'll call it the romantic category, not the hopeless category. Yeah. I think that's what we need to get away from. Shout out to Carrie. What is good, fam? I hope everything is good on that boat you're on right now. Kind of weird seeing you on that side of it, not this side, but say hello to the fam. Hope you guys are having a good time.
Okay, I see him giving a shout out over there. What's up?
Yeah, there you go.
What's up, fam?
He's lagging in the chat. Yo.
I noticed you, brother. The other two up here, they were ignoring you. They were just talking.
Yo, man, have one of them. I don't know what they have on them damn ships. The margaritas or the fucking.
I got everything. Here, Carrie, tell it.
Shit, have a Bahama Mama on me, man.
Sex on the beach, something.
Right.
Everybody cash app carry a dollar or two, pay for his drinks while he's on vacation.
Facts.
Yeah, speaking of that, we just finished going dry in August too, so I know he's chomping at the bit to knock a couple of them back. I saw a question from Joe Bass. I'm looking for him. I'm just kind of stalling until I find it.
There was a couple of questions. I think AT had one of them.
AT got jokes and shit saying that I'm in Romantics Anonymous and shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, here it is. Here we go. Joe Black. All right. So what are your thoughts on transforming your thought process from taking disrespect just to hold on to someone? Transforming your thought process on taking disrespect. Every man has a limit to how much disrespect they'll take, no matter who they are, who that person is. I assume that's like your wife, your significant other, someone who's close to you in your life, family member, whatever. But every man has a breaking point on tolerance level on disrespect. Mine, as I've gotten older, is damn near zero. It's about 0.00001. And that's just for me to take a breath long enough not to choke the shit out you. You know what I'm saying? But so that in itself, man, once you find your limit, you got to stick to that limit and hold to that limit, bro. And for some guys, it is a process because a lot of guys will take a lot of shit or fear of losing or fear of the aftermath of going through like a breakup or something like that. So they'll just stick, they'll do their time, quote unquote. I've heard, brothers say that I'm just gonna do my time. My kids are gone, grown, then I'm out, and they'll take the shit for love, for love. I love my kids. I love my family. I love my lifestyle, whatever it is.
Right.
But like I said, every man's got a point where they're like, enough is enough.
Yeah, for me, disrespect is something completely different than like an example of something that you just said a minute ago. Borders. Borders might be something that you normally wouldn't have been willing to deal with, but in your current situation, for some reason it works and it's tolerable to you. Disrespect, I don't think is something that should be tolerable to anybody, man or woman. So as far as transforming your thought, I mean, I'm always going to go back to the same thing as far as looking at yourself in the mirror and realizing who you are, that you do have worth, you are worthy. There ain't nobody out there that should be making you feel that you aren't anything less than that. So that situation, I think that once you have that mindset, it's easier to not hold on to somebody who's going to be consistently disrespectful to you. Because if you allow it now, it's only going to get worse. It's going to grow. They're going to feel that that's just, I can be this way with him. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't saying nothing. So, if you allow it, it's going to continue, basically.
Oh yeah. So, right. Transforming is the operative word, man. It's like if you're in a situation where you are being disrespected or you feel disrespected, you need to address that healthily for one, and succinctly for the other. That's a tremendous word for a West Sider. But you got to handle that shit, man. You cannot, as a man, you cannot take, because motherfuckers will try you in every facet of your life. They'll sense it. They can almost smell it. Listen, motherfucker, I can just get over and shit on. So the faster you deal with that and make it known that I'm not one to be shit on and disrespected, the better.
Right. But another interesting part to a question like this is, and it's very it's very profound that he used the word transforming, right? Transforming your thought process. The reason why I say that is because the problem is a lot of guys don't even know when they're being disrespected. Right? Because a lot of us, sadly, we think that certain forms of or certain types of or certain behaviors from our partner is what relationships are about. You understand? A lot of us tend to think, like, for example, I heard I was watching some video and they were kind of showcasing Vivica A. Fox, and she was talking about the fact that she grew up in a certain type of household where all her parents did was argue and fight.
Right.
And she said, you know, after therapy and all of this stuff, she realized that the reason why she can't really like find herself in a healthy relationship is because she for a long time thought that like toxicity, fighting, disrespectful stuff equates to love.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm fighting with you, if I'm yelling and cussing at you, that means I love you, because if I didn't love you, I wouldn't be yelling and cussing like this. Yeah. And I mean, I can understand that to an extent, but at the same time, we want to try to get to healthy interactions with our loved ones. You understand? And speaking on anything but the topic at hand, meaning calling you out your name, cussing at you, and trying to attack you personally, usually has nothing to do with the topic. Usually has nothing to do with the issue that we're actually debating about. You understand what I'm saying? So in that respect, a lot of people, they're in relationships and they literally think that, oh, you know, she's a baddie and she got that type of, you know, she got that type of sass. She got that type of attitude. So all of that, you know, that neck rolling and I ain't doing this and I don't need no man and no, boo, boo, and all of this clapping and shit. Yeah. All up in your fucking face.
Yeah. Because it's like,
you think I need you? Nigga, I pay the bills and motherfucker get out my face. And that's why your dick little and all of this shit. Yeah. Some guys think that that's normal. You get what I'm saying? Some guys think that it's okay because she's a baddie and she's been used to hanging out with rappers and all of this shit, and she got to check on her Instagram. You understand? So that gives her the right to treat me like shit because she got a fat ass and all of this and all of that, and it's okay. I'll tolerate it because I want to keep her. I want to hold on to this. You understand? And that's the part that see, and that could be a trait of a hopeless romantic as well. It's not just going out of your way to simp and do romantic gestures. It's literally having that mental state where you're taking abuse and you're constantly thinking one day it'll get better because love conquers all. You get what I'm saying? That's also a part of the pitfalls of the hopeless romantic. They're hopeless, meaning that consciously speaking and in reality, the chick is not going to change, or even if it's vice versa, right? If the man is disrespecting the woman or abusing the woman, even, right? She's thinking, oh, he beats me because he loves me, and one day it'll get better. One day he's gonna. It's just a phase. He's gonna grow out of it. And he's not going to hit me anymore because he truly loves me. That's the hopeless. They're hopeless because they're actually hoping against hope that something good is going to happen out of something negative. You understand? And what do they say? They say, you know, the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing, hoping for different results.
Yep.
Yeah. So ultimately, the hopeless romantic can be considered insane. You understand what I'm saying? So this whole hopeless romantic thing gets deep because, like I said, it's not just about simping and buying a girl stuff and doing all these different, you know, rubbing her feet and giving her baths and all this stuff. No, sometimes just sitting there in the relationship and continuing on day to day while this person abuses you verbally, disrespects you. You know, is some people out there, like there's some men out there who purposely try to keep their woman fat. You understand? Because their self-esteem is so low, and they don't want any other man looking at her because they're jealous. They have low self-esteem, and they like, what if my woman gets attractive, she might fuck around and leave me. Mm-hmm. And in that situation, the hopeless romantic is the woman because she doesn't realize the trap that she's in. You understand? So it's you know, it can go very, very deep on either side. You understand? Just thinking, oh, one day it'll get better. That's like the Achilles heel of the hopeless romantic, and this is why we have to deal with reality. You know what I mean?
So definitely some traits in codependent people as well. So
right,
not necessarily saying a hopeless romantic is a codependent and it's all the same, but there are similarities in some of those behaviors. So you know, if that is something that describes you, that you may want to do some deeper digging into your own psyche and your own shit, get some professional help, counseling, all that shit. The shit works, for some people in certain situations. Disorder Sin, she had another question. What are some boundaries hopeless romantics should develop? Now, when we talk about, first of all, you got to be comfortable in who you are and define who you are. That's first and foremost. One of the boundaries that I've found that is crucial to that quote unquote hopeless romantic is dealing in reality, man. Really accepting reality. Not only should you have boundaries, you should have little guards on the posts, on the borders, looking for those red flags and not ignoring those fucking red flags, because that's how a lot of those boundaries get compromised, by overlooking or ignoring or not addressing those red flags.
Right.
Any other ones off the top of your heads you guys can think of that are some boundaries that a hopeless romantic who needs help in their life, what some boundaries that are hard and fast they need to develop?
I would say pretty much everything we were just talking about. If you're the kind of person who's going to sit there and take that disrespect, or on the flip side, the woman who's being, beaten on a regular basis, that hoping that something that negative is going to change. I mean, we should, the same type of boundaries that you have with everything else in your life, you should continue to have. I mean, even if you're not a hopeless romantic and you're in a poly relationship, you have boundaries that you set. So I think just the same way that you would, regardless of what your preferences, your relationship type, whatever that may be, you should have your own boundaries, regardless of what situation or relationship you're in. So I don't necessarily think that it's much different being a hopeless romantic. Just they tend to get caught up a little bit more and dealing with more than the average person would, as far as negativity in a relationship.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, there should always be boundary. See, this is why I always go back to identity, knowing who you are, because that's also that's a byproduct of knowing who you are, knowing what you will and will not tolerate, right? And having the consciousness and the wisdom based on experiences of going through life to know the difference. You understand? Because look, the people that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, they're just humans, so there are gonna be mistakes. You understand? People are going to make mistakes. A woman might raise her voice at you or say something slick just out of a knee-jerk reaction, or you understand? And then, you can check them and they'll apologize and everything will be right back to normal. But then you got some people who, it's like they choose to push buttons and they choose to nudge you and they choose to needle you, and they know your triggers. They know the things that are going to bother you, and they press and they press and they press. Even when you tell them, yo, this is a trigger for me, I need you to chill on that. And they just don't regard you, and they just keep pressing and pressing. And those are the people where it's like, all right, so we got to set up some boundaries to the point where you might have to be just out of my light, period. Because at this point, I'm a man of a certain age. I know exactly who I am and what I want and what I will and will not tolerate. And I have the wisdom to know the difference, and I will not tolerate this. So I'm gonna need you to exit stage left, period. Right. And
I mean that shit.
And mean it, because it's so many things. Look, there are a lot of pros and cons to a relationship, and the messed up part is the lust, the physical part of it is so bad, because that's the part that'll bring you back half the time. Like the box is so good, the touch, the smell, the way she did this, the way he did that, the way they touched me. You understand? Like, if the relationship was just the sex, then everything would be perfect. Right. But unfortunately, that's not it. That's not it. Like, we got to talk, we got to converse, there's a companionship factor. And within that companionship, we got to have that mutual respect.
It's like love and hate are energy on the same spectrum. It's just how you use it. Kind of like fury and passion. Kind of like, and so some people think that they have to accept the fury to deal with the passion. And they have to deal with I hate this motherfucker so much, I love him. You ever hear somebody say that? I hate this motherfucker so much, I love him. And they think that they have to have both of those things, and they have to deal with both of those, and they have to accept the shit to get the quote unquote good stuff.
Yeah, it's almost like it's the same feeling, but it's projected differently. You know what I mean? Like, it's that same internal feeling that like angst of, God damn it, I fucking hate this person, or I fucking love this person so much. It's just how you take that energy and how it exits your body and goes towards the other person. I think because they are very similar. You do hear that a lot about love and hate, and like you said, you know, being
talks about this shit, right? Shit, we just listened to some of them shits early before the show. It's a deadline. You know, motherfuckers make tons of money off of this crazy theory and passion and love and hate and shit. You know, hopeless romantics and all. You know, so it's definitely a thing that we as a collective could just get a hold of and shit and just be aware of that shit. But it's let's see, David Goncalves had a question here. What's the difference? What's the difference? Hopeless romantic and a person who likes to be denigrated in a relationship. I don't know what he has fetish dominatrix.
I think that's exactly it. I think he answered his own question for me personally, and I don't know a whole lot about it, but the dominatrix stuff, the being dominated thing, I think is just more of a sexual preference that doesn't really have anything to do with his romanticism or how he looks or feels. A lot of it is a power thing.
Yeah,
you might be a guy, a CEO, for example, who's telling people, or the woman, same thing, and likes to come home and have all of that taken over. There's a show called Billions. I don't know if anybody watches it on Showtime.
No.
Paul Giamatti, he's just like this big heavy hitter, constantly on the go, real busy, but he goes to a dominatrix because he has to have that release of power. Like I don't want that. So,
tired of making decisions all the time. I want to give up control a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's a so.
Yeah. It's. I think it has to do with. I think it has to do with consciousness of choice, right? The hopeless romantic a lot of times is blinded by a lot of stuff. They're blinded by the romance. Therefore, you know, they end up being hopeless. The person who likes to be denigrated, that's a choice. They're conscious of the choice. You understand? So when I'm being, because usually in those type of situations, they're not being denigrated all the time.
No, right.
You understand? On an average day, you know, things are respectful, things are cool. But it's like, okay, when I pull this whip out and I put on the leather and all of the straps and shit, then it's like, okay, and usually those people have a safe word as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You understand? So even in the midst of all the denigration, and I mean, you got guys out there that want their testicles to be stepped on, like literally. You understand? Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of weird stuff out there. Like that Paul Giamatti shit, you know, from the show, that's real stuff. Like I remember Lucario and I had a show back in the day called The Sexy Party Show, and we invited this dominatrix chick to the show, and she was telling us, of course, she couldn't give us any names of her clients and all that stuff, but she was like, look, my clients are well-known politicians, like men that you see on TV every day. And they call me to beat them and step on their testicles and say horrible shit to them and spit on them, like disgusting, like denigrated. Like this is what the guy is talking about. And this is what these men want, because like, you know, like you said in the show, it's like these men, they have so much power. They delegate, they tell people what to do all day. And they just need to be able to feel the extreme other end of that situation, where they're the ones being told what to do and they're the ones being abused and so on and so forth. You understand what I'm saying? So these things are out there. These things are out there. But to answer the question, basically, the difference is that the hopeless romantic can be blinded by their pursuit of love and romance. Meanwhile, the person that likes to be denigrated has the consciousness of choice and has an agreement with the person that is doing the denigration.
Right. And I also think, shit, I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say. Oh, if you happen to be into that type of stuff, I got a little. Some of it's a little bit kind of out there for me, but I also want to say there's nothing wrong with being that way if that's what you like, as long as it's safe, consensual, and all that good stuff. I mean, I wouldn't feel ashamed for being into that kind of thing if that's why you're asking the question, David.
Right.
I don't know about
right.
it.
Right.
I appreciate you asking something like that, though.
Exactly. But don't mistake it for a person who's in an abusive relationship and is blinded.
Yeah.
You understand? Don't if a woman is getting beat and bloodied every day and she's not asking for that, her husband just comes home drunk or whatever and just starts beating her ass, and she stays in the relationship, she's not staying because she likes to be denigrated. She's staying because she may have low self-esteem, or she may have what's that, Stockholm syndrome, you understand? Or she may just be what we're calling here a hopeless romantic, a person who thinks that love conquers all and love will fix all problems. You understand? There's a difference, because when you get into that realm of love will conquer all and love will fix all things, you're being blinded by hope. You're being blinded by the hope of something better taking place later on when it's really not going to happen. Meanwhile, the person who likes it actually makes a choice and, and has a conscious agreement with the person that's doing shit to them.
Yeah. Get paid for it, whatever it is they're into.
Right. Yeah, correct. And they're paying for it. So it's definitely a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys. Yeah.
All right, so this guy struggled. His first date with a hot chick, pulled her home. All of a sudden, she tells me she ain't in the mood. Bro, that's a phone call, bro. So if, there's no way in hell I don't think we can answer that question, without any context.
Yeah. I mean, what that's not a question. That's not a question.
Looks like a statement.
Yeah, that's a.
Well, I had a question mark. So
yeah, that's a statement with a
question
mark. That's it.
Call in though. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, call in.
Yeah, call in if you need some context, bro. Let's see.
I wanted to talk about the whole dinner movie, flowers and candy.
Okay, like romantic gestures and things of that effect.
Yeah.
Okay. Being aware. All right.
So I mean, I'm 40, right? And I'm sure when you guys were coming up watching like TV shows and sitcoms and shit in movies, right? You saw the guy, ask the girl, Peggy Sue, 2 doors down, out to the, to dinner in a movie. And when he showed up to the door, he had flowers and candy. And he also was sitting in the living room with the dad while she was upstairs getting dressed. And, the mother would come down and say, hey, Billy, Stacy's getting ready. She'll be down in a couple of minutes. And then when she came to the top of the stairs, there was a big oh, look at Stacy and her, right? And before that, the father's like, hey, Billy, what's your intentions with my daughter? And, make sure you have her home before 10 because we're not that type of family and Stacy's not that type of girl and so on and so forth. And, and he's probably at the same time, he's probably like stroking his shotgun and Billy's sitting there like, sure, Mr. Williams, I'll definitely have Stacy home by 10. 9:45 actually. Yeah, but the thing is like with those type of situations back in the day, you were already meeting the parents, right? Everybody in town kind of knew who you were. Oh, that's little, Billy from, down the street. He's trying to go out with Stacy, and and everybody kind of knew. And usually in those small town situations, the ultimate goal was to get married. Right? Because in those days, back in the 70s and the 80s and stuff, unless you was in the city partying and discoing, if you were off in the rural suburban areas, the first girl you went out with on a date, usually that's the girl you're trying to you're trying to marry. You understand? So bringing offerings of flowers and candy and then taking a girl out to dinner and the movies on the first date actually made sense. Because she wouldn't have even accepted your invitation for all that unless she had serious intentions of wanting to be your wife in the future, right? So, but see, the sad part is after we've moved forward in society and kind of broke away from a lot of those traditions of intent, right? A lot of people still wanted to keep the dinner and the movie and the flowers and the candy. You understand? And with that being said, if a man does that shit today on the first date, a lot of men are taken advantage of. You understand? But a lot of men still believe in those things because of the hopeless romantic inside of them. Because they still have that feeling of the 70s where, oh man, it's my intention to really see where this goes with this girl. So I'm willing to take her to dinner and a movie. I'm willing to bring, candy and flowers and really, do it big, so to speak. I really want to make those romantic gestures. Meanwhile, the girl is looking at this nigga like, I'm gonna use these flowers to decorate my house. I'm gonna go get this free movie and this free dinner. and I'm gonna put the candies in the fridge and eat them later when the guy that I'm fucking breaks my heart, right? And so it's a whole different dynamic from those times to these times. But a lot of us hopeless romantic guys, we still hold on to the, to buying things on the first date, right? To doing a full-fledged, like a full course dinner, like a full, like 3-course dinner in a whole movie. And it's like, first of all, I'm not even spending that much time with a chick on the first date. You understand? And the most I'll buy a chick is a couple of drinks. And that's pretty much it. You understand? So it's like, I wanted to know you guys like opinion on, on doing certain things on the first date. Like, how do y'all feel about that?
I'm kind of in the same boat with you as far as the drinks. I know like Carrie will talk about like, nah, I don't do that kind of shit. But I mean, I don't mind, buying drinks and stuff like that. But I can't think of a time that I've showed up with like candy and flowers ever in my life. Not to say that I haven't given anybody flowers or candy or stuff like that for different occasions, or just because, at different times in a relationship. But as far as a first date goes, I honestly, I can't think of a time that I've ever done that. Mm-hmm. So, plus most of my first dates have always been going to like a bar or something like that anyway. It hasn't really been a lot of like, hey, do you want to go to dinner tonight? And that's the first time that I had an interaction with somebody.
Right.
It's always been more of a sit down at a bar, more of a relaxed atmosphere instead of somewhere where I would feel uptight, or you know what I mean?
Right.
It gets uncomfortable. There's an easy out. You're at the bar. If you're at a restaurant, you can't get up and leave right in the middle of your meal, kind of thing. So, I guess you can, but what about you?
The only time I ever bought flowers on a first date was for my current wife. You know what I'm saying? And that was an outlier, because by then we had a couple conversations. I met her online. We had actually talked a couple times before we actually went on a lunch date. And so I, being the hopeless romantic I am, felt it was worth a risk to invest in this woman, with this gesture. But that gesture was genuine. That was a genuine gesture. Now, prior to that, it wasn't a first date scenario, and it wasn't even a romantic gesture. But I think I told y'all before, when I was in my business arrangement, I had shoulder surgery, and so for like 3 weeks, she put me up, man. Let me chill at the crib, took care of me, took me to my appointments and all that shit. And out of a token of appreciation, I bought her like a little $20, lotion and soap kit or whatever, right? Bed Bath and Beyond or some shit like that. Yeah. And she got hot, man. She was like, "What is this? What are you trying to create here?" I'm like, "I ain't trying to create nothing. What are you talking about? Uh-huh. You ain't catching no feelings and shit, are you?" I'm like, "Hell no, I ain't catching no feelings. Why you think I'm catching feelings? I appreciate you looking me out. That's all this is all that was, you know what I'm saying?"
Right.
But because we kind of talked about it in our show prep, where the past relationships and those past experiences, because a lot of guys will use hopeless romantic tactics for, they'll do the dinner and the movie and the flowers and the candy and holding hands and all that shit, and all they want is the ass, and all they want, right? But they'll use nice guy tactics. They'll use good, hopeless romantic tactics that the natural hopeless romantic is competing with. So now they're competing with the wolves, using their tactics, what I'm saying? And they're losing.
Right.
Like the show, they're quote unquote losing because a lot of times women, they sense that bad boy element and they want that part of the man, you know what I'm saying? Or over the quote unquote nice guy. Right. But then get pissed off when they get duped, quote unquote, and the relationship goes to shit, heartbroken, got their money stolen or whatever it is. And so it's just funny. So yeah, so now if I would have bought my ex or my wife flowers, and I bought my ex's flower, and I bought every woman I ever dated flowers and all that shit, that would have been one thing. But that's the only time I've ever done it, and that just happened to we're still married and shit. So other than that, no, I haven't really done I've done dinner and a movie and all that shit, in the course of dating and shit like that. Yeah. Or I'll pay one time, you pay the next time or whatever, but the trope of, you know, sitting there and, you know, getting father's approval and asking father's hand to date. You know, I ain't never do that stuff, you know.
Right, exactly.
That doesn't happen. And
none of us really do that shit today. I mean, maybe in other countries and shit, but I could, or maybe in super rural areas of the United States, maybe
real conservative type areas, maybe.
But I don't know where they do that at these days. You understand? And the thing too is, and I'm glad you brought up hopeless romantic tactics.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the wolves who not really about that romantic life, they will use those things to help get shit across, just to impress upon the lady that they're interested like that, so they can trust in them and fall for the bullshit, right? But that being said, those gestures of the flowers and the candy and the dinner in the movie, I think that sometimes it can like cause like expectations that are not really there, right? Because before I was talking about, in today's climate, the woman is just going to take those things for granted and just, oh yeah, give me the flowers, give me the candy, and I'll do a dinner in the movie. I don't care. I'm not really that interested in you, but I'll do it. Like, but on the flip side, you have some women who they'll take that shit to heart too. Like they'll be like, oh my God, he got me flowers. Oh my God, he got me candy. Meanwhile, the dude is just using it as a tactic. You understand? So it's crazy how the hopeless romantic gestures can be a double-edged sword, you know, for you know, depending on who's on the receiving end of the situation, because it could cause a woman to have more expectations of the first date, and then it could be that the guy is using it as a tactic, or it could be that the guy he's doing it because he has more expectations on the first date, and the woman is just taking full advantage of the free shit. You see what I'm saying? So, and you know, and that's why we have to consider that. And look, I believe that there are some guys out there that is their game, truly. You understand? Maybe their heart is stuck in the 70s and the 80s, and that's just how they deal with women. They bring flowers, candy, and the first date is at least dinner. That's how some guys are. They don't care. You know, you have some guys that, you know, they make a certain amount of money and they have a disposable income for dating, and this is what they do. Like, they go to the best steakhouse and it's only a first date because, you know, they probably multimillionaires or whatever the hell they are. But the problem is, to me, at the end of the day, is the false pretense of the shit. You understand? Whether it's false pretense through hopeless romanticism, or it's false pretense through you're using it as a tactic to try to be something that you're not, or on the woman's side, it's false pretense that she's faking interest, but she's just getting the free shit. Yeah. Or on the woman's side, it's just how he runs his game, and she's taking it as, oh my God, this guy wants to get married next month. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So it all depends on your perception of reality and how you perceive the hopeless romantic gestures. You know, it's crazy.
I also think there's a big difference too, and here I think would be a good way to compare it. If you're in a long-term relationship, like Clarence, you with your wife, Miles, you with your main, me with Cynthia, doing those things on a date in that relationship is completely different than doing it at the beginning. You know, taking something on the first date. So I think if you were to look at it that way, in terms of like, what are you really trying to get out of it? Are you doing it just because, like you said, some people really do. That is their game. That's just how they are. But
I
think that's a good measuring stick as to why are you doing
it? Exactly. Why are you doing it? Yep. Exactly.
Right. AT's question here. He says, going off what you said about bringing flowers and candy back in the day. Was it the men or the women who destroyed how it used to be?
Who wants to go first? I'll go first.
I'm a man must take accountability for their actions type of brother. So I'm gonna say we fucked that up for everybody. That's our bad. You know what I'm saying? You know, our forefathers bad. That's my opinion.
It is. We are definitely, I think, the ones that created the atmosphere for women to react or to expect or react to what their expectation is from, you know, how they're getting or what they're getting from men. But I also do want to say, and Sin said something too, and I agree with her 100%, is I don't think that there should be so much focus on who fucked it up so much. And I'm not saying that just because it was guys who fucked it up. Because
yeah, it's not important. Yeah, it's not important to blame and point fingers, man. That's not important.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, as long as we keep looking backwards, we're not going to be able to move forward, right?
Right. Yeah.
We're trying to create an us atmosphere, not an us versus them atmosphere,
right?
And opening those lines of communication and with women and women with men again, in a positive way instead of everybody trying to fuck everybody over.
Yeah.
I just think it's in bad taste to continue to be like, pointing the finger and blaming each other for shit that happened, back then. And we all fucking know we're the ones who fucked it up. As far as the there's still some chivalrous motherfuckers out there, but for the most part, I can't remember what comedian said it. Dave Chappelle, chivalry's dead and women killed it. I don't agree with that. I think it was us, for the most part.
Yeah. No, I think ultimately it's like if we're taking a macro view, it's definitely men. But at the same time, because look, I'm really trying to like tread lightly, because with men taking responsibility, we have to look at certain freedoms that we allowed women to have, which kind of snowballed into a lot of the things that are going on today. You understand what I'm saying? But within saying that, of course, I'm going to get the chauvinist, and I'm going to get the whatever, like, for example, us, allowing, women to vote, women's suffrage, and, the rise of feminism, and giving women all of these platforms and voices to speak. We have to remember that we allowed an emotional creature to be able to say whatever they want, whenever they want, and however they want. You understand? And, a lot of times, when you give someone who may not be ready for it too many choices all at once, bad things can happen, right? And I don't say this to put down women, but I feel that there's some valid arguments in there to be said about giving women a certain level of freedom and then having to deal with the results of all of those freedoms, right? So with that being said, it was men's fault. But after we let certain things go down, then women were able to make certain choices, which kind of bring us into where we are today. You understand? It's both men's and women's fault. Because, for example, like, the average woman or the average feminist or the average social justice warrior is gonna fight for equality. But if we say, hey, we need to have, if we got a crew of 50 on this construction site, we need 25 guys and 25 women. We'll probably get, 2 or 3 women that want to be on the construction site, but where are the other 21, 22 women that actually want to be working out in the sun, lifting boulders and mixing cement and doing all of this shit? Where are they? They're nowhere to be found. You understand what I'm saying? And see, that's the thing that I was talking about, even with the candies and the flour and the dinner and the movie. It's like women want that. They want that stuff, but they want to pick and choose. Like, okay, I'll take the flowers, I'll take the candy, and I'll take the dinner, but I don't want to go to the movies, because if we're in the movies, you're paying attention to the movie and not me, and I don't like that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's like they get to pick and choose what they want, and then at the end of the day, it's not about trying to build something with the guy. It's about, what can I get out of the dating scene? Like, what physical and material things can I rack up from these hopeless romantic guys? You get what I'm saying?
There is something to that. I'm gonna put the disclaimer up just in case, because the views expressed on the Man Who's a Skill Set show each our own individual shit. What we all say is what we say, just in case anybody gets their panties in the notch, just in case. But
you'd be surprised how many women there are on construction sites, because the medical gas industry, going out there and working on facilities from the ground up.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked. Like, they're like, there's actually quite a few of them. They're not fucking.
I mean, there are more coming. Nah, definitely. I mean, compared to maybe a few years ago, there are definitely more and more. I'm seeing it myself. That is true. You know what I'm saying? So. But I'm just saying, like, that equality that they always they're chanting about.
Yeah, I see
it's
what
like when you really try to give it to them, it's like, well, I'm still a girl, Like, I mean, I'm still a woman. Come on, take it easy. You know,
I mean, I've come across women who, in the Navy who have done like technical type jobs, working in the bilges and mechanics and shit like that. But then when they put the civilian clothes on, they still want to be dainty and lady like and all that shit too.
As they should.
Ain't nothing. Yeah, ain't no shade in that at all. That's lovely.
Me, I love me a feminine woman, man. I love me a feminine woman who don't mind getting her hands dirty when it's time to work. You understand? I can appreciate that.
I like a woman. Those to me, those are women, not chicks, not girls, not broads or whatever. Broads. How old am I? But that's how I delineate what a woman is and a chick and shorty or whatever. A woman ain't afraid to be sexy, even when her hands are dirty and shit.
Right.
Let's see. Did I?
I knew they were. They were running conduit. They were doing all kinds of shit. I'm just talking to the last comment that popped up about women not doing heavy lifting at construction sites. Shit, one of them was driving a goddamn crane.
Oh yeah, drive a forklift or whatever. Or
yeah. I mean, I don't know how it is. I'm assuming you're in. I don't know if that's LA or Louisiana, but in San Antonio they were putting work in on those fucking job sites. I'll tell you that much.
Well, Charles Barkley's San Antonio women joke that he's not allowed to say any more of that comment. So about women in San Antonio in construction, big old women in San Antonio, they love them churros. You can't tell that joke no more. But Sin says take accountability, be responsible. So let's talk about. Let me see what other talking points we had covered.
Yeah.
Talked about the misconceptions, and we talked about the hopeless romantic gesture energy.
Can we?
There was something that you had comment. You describe yourself as a player with hopeless romantic with romantic tendencies.
Right.
You had one make it clear. Just because you're a player doesn't mean you're a bad dude or a bad person, whatever.
Exactly. That's another thing that's definitely a misconception, right? Because it's like if you're not a hopeless romantic or a nice guy or a pushover or a simp, it's like then that means you're a player, and automatically if you're a player, then that means you disrespect women. You hate women. You got mommy issues. You treat women like shit. You have low self-esteem because you don't respect women and you don't have any respect for yourself. And the reason why you need to be with so many women is because there's something missing from your relationship and there's a void within you that you're trying to fill, and you need to go to therapy. That's basically.
So you heard this before a time or two. Or somebody like Niles Munningham is who that's who you talk about, right?
So all players are horrible chauvinistic pigs, and they all treat women like shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. It's like a lot of like that's why titles can be dangerous sometimes, because with titles comes the the tropes and the ideals and the narratives that have been associated with the title on a popular perspective, right? Like for example, if you ever remember, anybody remember that movie with Bill Bellamy called How to Be a Player?
How to Be a Player, yeah.
If you ask me, based on my standards of being a player, that movie was totally inaccurate because he was lying to every one of the girls he was smashing.
Yeah. And
I'm like, in my book, or at least the way I run my player book, lying is not a play in the player book. You understand? Lies.
Yeah, man, that's you gotta emphasize that, man. Say that again, please.
Yeah, lying is not a play in the player's book. Period. You understand? If you have to lie, then you're not a player. Because if you are a player, that means you're coming into the game with the chicks knowing that you are a player, that you're in the game, that you're making moves. You understand? Like, players can be traded at any time. We're in the off season for the NBA. We see a lot of movement going on. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we know that a lot of this stuff can be temporary, but we're upfront about it. We understand that it's what we do. So it's like being honest is something that's absolutely necessary, which also brings the and I wanted to get into this after about the hold on. I had it written right here. Hold on. Sorry.
The societal standards.
No, masculine standards of dating that are non-negotiable.
Okay.
But let me finish. Talking about how people always think that players are horrible people, but it's not really. It's not exactly true. It's not exactly true. What a lot of women don't talk about is the experiences that they have with guys that don't last very long, but we're good. Mm-hmm. You understand? And I've been through those situations. I meet a chick, and for the whole time that I know her, we going out every once in a while, we smashing, we meeting up at the hotel, we meeting up at the crib, whatever it is. Sex is good. The time spent is really good. There's almost no arguments because there's no time for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like, we set up 2 hours to hang together this week, and maybe, maybe once every week or sometimes twice a week, depending on the situation. Yeah. And that's it. You understand? And it's like we everything is honest. So everything that is done in good faith. You understand? Just because it's not leading to marriage and it's not leading to a quote unquote meaningful monogamous relationship or situation doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. You understand? Because you come into the situation honest, you come into the situation in good faith with a positive energy, and you let them know, hey, we're looking for a good time, and we're upfront about it, and we let each other know what it is. And on top of that, we coming in with STD tests, we coming in with different situations, so everything is on the table. You understand? You know that I see other women, you know this, you know that. And so there's no need. Like, a lot of times when women complain or even when guys complain, it's sad because nobody wants to talk about the good experiences that they had. And a lot of times there are good experiences that happen in between those long-term relationships. You understand? But nobody wants to talk about that because since it didn't lead to marriage, or since it didn't lead to some type of, serious monogamous situation, then for whatever reason, it just doesn't count. You understand? And that to me, is sort of can be sort of a misconception or a misnomer for a lot of people, because nobody wants to recognize that. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I was dating this player. And as soon as they hear that word, oh, he was a player, then it must have been something wrong with him, girl.
He was a dog. He was
a dog. He was this, he was that. And if the girl took the time, she'll probably be like, nah, he was actually a really nice guy. But, that lasted for how long it lasted, and that was it. You see what I'm saying? And many times there's nothing wrong with that. Like, bro, listen, I'm taking, any one of my chicks out that I'm dating, I'm opening doors. Like, she's sitting in the car, I'll walk around, open the door, and then I'm opening the door to the restaurant, all that shit. You understand what I'm saying? I'm making sure nobody even bumps her. That's the type of nigga I am. Like, I see the waiter coming on this side, I'll grab her by the waist and I'll bring her over to the next side, so we don't have to walk past the waiter. We're on a clear path. You understand what I'm saying? That's the type of person that I am.
Can we clarify that is not being a simp?
And okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Simp comments were in there a couple times, yeah. So
this leads us to the masculine principles that are non-negotiable when it comes to dating, right? And those things that I was just talking about, that's not even chivalry to me necessarily. I mean, you can call it that, but that's literally how I run my shit. Because when I'm leading a woman, even in our walking path through the restaurant or our walking path through the parking lot, understand that when we get into the bedroom, I'm leading just the same. You get what I'm saying? Like, the leadership doesn't stop. Because a lot of you who want to look at that and call it simping or call it whatever you want to call it, what you don't really understand is the significance of the leadership factor that comes with that type of shit. You think I'm opening up her door because I'm being her servant. No. Once you park in any space, you don't necessarily know what's going on. And I don't because even sometimes you park and then somebody pulls up right in the parking space right beside you. Right. And they don't know when you're going to open your door necessarily. But if I'm standing there opening her door, that's me creating a safe environment for the female that I'm with. You understand? Because before the door opens, I'm looking around. I'm doing a 360 to make sure everything's safe, and then I take her out the car. But again, that's me. That's a standard of dating that's non-negotiable for me. And it's not just about this, being a servant or anything like that to the female. That's me leading the situation and being a protector and being a surveyor of my domain and making sure everything is safe and being responsible at the end of the day, really.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. I mean, it's still to this day, years and years later with Senate, she's finally now starting to like I am walking on this side of the street. You know what I mean? Like now it's become more, because I don't think that was something that was important to whoever she was in previous relationships with, so something she wasn't used to. And it's not being simpish. It's not being a weak, or you're not being emasculated by the woman because you're opening the door for her. You're being fucking polite. You're being a gentleman. You're being a decent human being with other human beings. So it's. I also really quick want to touch on what you were talking about earlier with the honesty, because you're in an open relationship. I also want to make it like super, super, super clear that the honesty thing, the starting the relationship off honest is probably the biggest foundation in a monogamous relationship as well.
Mm.
And I wanted to get that in before I forgot it. But I mean, not a lot to talk about. I just want, from all aspects, I think honesty is key for the most part.
Exactly. Yep. That's right.
Like we got a call coming in here, fellas.
That's right. All right. Let's get it.
So, come on. All right, let's see. We got area code 412 on the Man Who's a Skill Set show. Who we talking to today?
Sushi or AT?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? This is AT calling.
AT. What's happening, fam? What's going on?
What up?
All right, man. Definitely tuning to the show, listening, and definitely couldn't agree more. About what you guys are talking about, especially with Miles bringing up the fact of like ladies not talking about the situations with guys that go well, where it might not have led to anything, but the fact that the guy was upfront and straightforward. Because I know with me only doing casual, and a lot of ladies that I always talk to, they never talk about those guys, or they rarely do. One, maybe they don't want to acknowledge because it adds to their body count, or the fact that hey, we're just doing their casual thing and they don't want to just come off like that. But I'm always like that, where I'm upfront, straightforward. They know, I'm seeing others. I'm cool if they're seeing others. And it goes, lasts, a month, 2 months, 3 months. And, but they never talk about the guys that they dealt with like that. Or they say it's rare, but even if it's rare, they still don't mention that. So, I would just definitely agree with Miles. And the same thing like you guys were talking about as far as how I deal with women, even if it's just casual, like the last couple ladies been out with, when we walked on the street, I purposely moved to the outside to make sure I was walking near the curb. And they both were like, they hadn't dealt with that with guys. Even in serious relationships and the marriages they were in, they didn't get in. One girl was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, walking on the outside. Why? Like, she was questioning me that. She had to go ask her mother to understand what that meant, because she didn't even know, because she never dealt with any guys that did that.
Wow. That's great. How old was that girl? Do you remember?
32.
Wow. Damn. I thought you was going to say 20-something. Damn.
She's like a 90s kid, you know what I'm saying?
Door open for her? That's crazy.
Damn. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. And you know what? You know what's crazy with my main chick, with this COVID shit? It's even worse now. Like, my woman touches no surfaces when we go out.
Yeah.
Like, she don't touch nothing. I'm like, listen, you don't touch anything unless it's the seat that we're sitting in once we get to the restaurant. Other than that, you don't touch anything. You understand? Like, I open every door, every seat, like, no matter what, because it's like, it's just, I don't know, that protective shit. It feels different to me. It feels like, and again, I'm not doing it because I'm trying to reinforce her allegiance to me. You understand? And, and that could be a whole nother topic about, the art of giving, where, a lot of people really don't know why and how to give, because most of us give with the intent that we're going to receive something back. And that's not real giving. So understand that when I'm talking about opening the doors and making sure my woman don't touch any surfaces due to COVID and safety and cleanliness and all that type of shit, I'm not doing that because I'm trying to keep my woman under control or anything like that. I do that simply because that's a choice I've made in how I want to conduct, you know, the movements of me and my woman out in the streets, period. You understand? And that's literally where it ends. Now, if she wants to say to me, oh, thank you so much for making sure I don't touch any surfaces and this and that and the third, she wants to show gratitude for that. That's icing on the cake, but I would be doing that shit anyway. You see what I'm saying? So that's something that we, you know, we need to understand that, like, as men, if we're doing something because we're seeking something back from the female, I think we have to be careful with that, because a lot of times that type of shit leads to disappointment, because not every time somebody's going to give you the blessings that you put out. Sometimes the blessing is going to come back to you in other ways, and you got to be prepared for it.
Yeah, who's this goofy dude, Obi? Is he being serious or is he talking shit? Because if he's talking shit, call in.
Oh,
call in. Let's talk.
Obi, please, let's do it. Let's do it. Please, let's discuss. I'm a goofy sim. Is AT still there?
Yeah,
I'm still there.
Okay.
God damn it, we do that every time.
Yeah, man. Did you have another question or anything?
Yeah, the other question I was going to ask, kind of along the lines of what you've been saying on that last topic, and the fact, like I said, we're going out with ladies, where certain things where I'm doing it just because, you know, that's what I want to do. Like you said, open doors, you know, walk on a certain side of the road, doing certain things because that's just how I roll. Mm-hmm. Even going on dates, like the last 4 or 5 dates I've been on, where the bill comes, you know, and I ask the woman out, so of course I'm going to pay, but they're reaching like, oh, I can pay my half. I'm like, what are you talking about? I asked you, I'm paying. So do you think that kind of goes with the question I asked earlier too, with that, and a lot of things where women are I guess either don't know or taken aback by things nowadays? That's why I was wondering, do you feel like it's men or women that kind of, you know, maybe destroy certain things where now it's even in question, like where a girl doesn't know a man's supposed to walk on outside, or if a guy asks a girl out, she's still going to, you know, grab her card to pay or something like that. Is there, you know, just a distinction where if we kind of lost our way in that? I was just curious what you want to know. But I agree with you guys are saying about it's not pointing the finger, just wondering where did it start, do you think?
I think it may have started with was it the Vietnam War or World War II? Whichever war it was, where like most of the men were the first. I think it was the first war that had a draft, and they drafted like
I think it was World War II when the women started.
Right.
We were working in factories and basically holding it down over here because we had everybody. Yeah.
So I think it started just around then, because I think that's where women kind of found a taste for an alternative lifestyle. And when I say alternative, I mean alternative to just being a mother and a homemaker, or a mother, a wife, and a homemaker. Right. So that's where women started, you know, feeling their freedom, started feeling their you know, power, independent of a man, and then they wanted to experience more of that. So if you want to talk about where it started, I think in American society, because if you go through history, there have been a lot of you know, rebellions led by women and other situations where like queens and things like that were trying to do their own thing and speak for women and things like that. But in American society as a whole, I think World War II was where it started, where they drafted all the men to the war, and then women had a chance to leave the home and start to go out into the workforce. So they started to taste that type of freedom and that type of independence, and they wanted more of it. And so after the war, that's when the, you know, suffrage movement, women burning their bras and all that type of shit,
and sexual revolution and all that in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, all that shit.
There's something to be said.
That started.
So there might have been like a conscious effort to downplay those traditional values and traditional ways of dating and all that shit too. So exactly. And so it's no longer passed down throughout, you know, like it was probably in our fathers' days and all, you know, before that, you know, how to treat, you know, women when you're, you know, not just someone that you're with, but, you know, opening doors and taking the side of the road where the traffic is and all that shit like that. So there's something to that, you know. We're not scientists and sociologists and shit like that, but there's something to that.
Mm-hmm. Yo, Obi said,
Okay.
Obi said, dudes like Miles reinforce the insane, dysfunctional entitlement of these 304 broads. Dude, really? I really like
terms. What's a 304 broad? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. AT, do you know what a 304 broad is?
Well, term 304, it's like it was back in the day whenever you would type 304 in a calculator and turn it backwards and upside down and it's spelled hoe.
Oh, shit. Really? I only know the word boobless.
And I know CGA says that all the time, 304. Instead of saying ho, you'll use the term 304. But that's where it originated from years ago.
All right. Now, that's some old school Pippin. Okay, all right. I get it. With the calculator with the 4 that's open, that looks like a little 8.
Right. A little 8.
I got it now. All right.
Yo, please, Obi, I would really love to discuss it with you, bro. I would really love to discuss it with you because
area code 210-591-7552. Line is open.
Yeah, man.
Well, it's not open because we're talking to AT, but it works. It works.
It works.
The phones work.
Jump off if he wants to call in and debate y'all. I just definitely want to chime in on that. And like I put in the chat, I'd love maybe one day a topic on, like Miles was talking about, a player, because it seems like as soon as that word is tossed out there, it's immediately met with negativity. Whereas a lot of times I've heard like Miles and the car talk about a true player is the guy that stand on, like Caesar, stand on your square, you're upfront, straightforward. You letting girls know exactly what it is, so it gets a bad rap.
Yeah, right. I wrote that down. I'm gonna
do that shit for real.
Yeah,
or at least do a video on it.
Do something like that. Yeah, I think Carrie be pissed if we did that without him. You know what I'm saying? We should do it then.
Or do a part 2 when he get back. Fuck it.
We're gonna do stuff like that when he comes back, man. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And Sin had one about the art of giving. Yeah, man. Appreciate the love as always. Man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for calling, man. Appreciate
you. I appreciate it.
All right, AT. Take care, man. Have a good rest of your day, man.
All right, you too.
All right, peace.
You too.
Yeah. Now, Obi, call in, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, see, the line is clear, Obi. It's all yours. 210-591-7552. Matter of fact, nobody else called till Obi called in.
Yeah.
Nah. Also, I thought Unique was already a mod. How come he's not a mod? He should be.
Oh, you know what? He's talking about my channel. I don't know how to make people mods on my channel. I literally just don't know how to do it.
Mob Day say he ain't gonna call. Internet thug, stay in the shadows. Damn, Mob Day's calling you out too, Obi. You know what I'm saying? Internet thug, come out the shadows, bro. Let's have some grown man talk, bro.
He ain't gonna call.
He ain't gonna call.
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
So, let's see. So we were talking. So you were talking about the masculine standards of dating that are non-negotiable. Are there any points that we missed before AT called?
Yeah, so the opening the doors, the protector, the warrior. Let me see. But then on the flip side, like it's not all about treating her a certain way either. It's about getting treated a certain way, right? So certain levels of disrespect won't be tolerated. Like, for example, I've been known to end dates just because a woman is asking for more than I offered. You understand? Like, I've invited a woman out to drinks, and then she picked up the menu and was like, "Ooh, so what? I want to get some appetizers." And I said, "Well, you can buy whatever appetizer you want. I'm only paying for drinks." And she actually got visibly upset with me. You understand? And the date ended there. I had another date where I asked the girl to sit in a certain chair so I could sit in the chair that was facing the exit. But she also wanted to sit in the chair that was facing the exit. You understand? And I said, listen, I need you to sit in this chair. If you're telling me that you can't sit in this chair, then this date is over. And the date ended. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just me, crawling on hands and foot, taking off my jacket and putting it over the puddle so these chicks could walk freely. You understand? It's a whole program. It's like a pageant. You know what I'm saying? It's like these women have to walk a certain way. They have to answer certain questions. There has to be a purpose or certain requirements on these dates. You understand? I'm being chivalrous, I'm being respectful, I'm giving you that feminine, womanly treatment, and at the same time, you also have to treat me, you know, like if I'm treating you like a queen, then I have to also be treated like the king that I am. You understand? So it goes like that level of respect and protection. It also goes, you know, the other way where I'm getting a certain level of respect, and I'm also getting a certain level of loyalty and allegiance. You understand what I'm saying? Because, well, I'm hanging out with a guy that is obviously trying to look out for my best interest, at least on this particular date right here, right now. So therefore, I have to, you know, I have to respect it, and to some extent, I have to appreciate it, right? So it goes both ways. It's not just, you know, it's not just one way. Like the masculine is more powerful when, you know, when it has feminine support. You see what I'm saying?
Is being a gentleman, or the term gentleman, is that, and I'm asking this just out of curiosity, is that kind of looked down upon these days among men? I mean, are we gentlemen a dying breed? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what gentlemen do. You know, they treat ladies, they treat people with respect. You know what I'm saying? And that seems to be dying. You know, just like manhood as a whole seems to be under attack. It seems like the gentleman is an endangered species. Is that just in my head, or is there some truth to that?
What say you, Dave?
I totally think there's some truth to that, and I think it's mostly men doing it to other men. Because I think in today's culture, especially the younger generation, and I'm not talking shit about the younger generation, I'm just saying the way that they grow up and the what do we call it, the instant gratification and this and that. If they see somebody being polite or being, you know, gentlemanly, it's considered a like they're looking at it like, oh man, what a simp! Like what a weak man. A real man.
Gentle means soft.
Yeah,
gentle don't mean soft, motherfucker.
And it's quite the opposite, actually. I mean, if being a gentleman, and it, not just to women, I mean, being a gentleman can go all across the board to just how you treat other people in general, right?
Right.
Right. You know, if you're respectful to other people, then people are going to be respectful to you. And that's what all these young cats running around out there don't get, and they wonder why people are, you know, constantly talking shit, and they're always at each other, and it's back and forth. You know, these females is hoes, and the girls are like, these dudes are nothing but dogs, and let's just hook up and fuck. There's no connection, there's no anything. And if that's what people want to do, that's cool, that's fine. I'm not knocking that, but I'm just saying, as far as being a gentleman, I think those are the types of people who tend to look down on it, consider it weak and not manly.
Well, yeah, well, definitely with guys like Obi, you know what I'm saying? Like he
compared you to Hitler.
He paid you a compliment. Hold on, let me find it. Hold on. He said, Obi said, Miles is eloquent and experienced in debate. I'm not. Hitler was also eloquent.
But see, and you know, and that's where Dave's point is so is so like it's spot on, because here it is, this guy Obi is looking at me like opening doors and doing shit. And the sad part is, the thing with guys like that, he actually thinks that what I'm doing is about the woman. You understand? And what needs to be understood is that the things that I do out on a date is because of me. You understand? I make the choice to do those things because that's how I run my dates. You understand? I let the woman in on the ground floor so she can get a taste of the lifestyle that is fucking with me. You understand? If you hanging out with me, this is how it's gonna be. You know, you're gonna sit in a certain chair. I'm gonna sit in a certain chair so I can see the exit. You know, you're looking at a guy that I always have a blade. I always have fire on me. You know what I'm saying? Just in case I need to MacGyver a situation or whatever, or if we about to light up and we need a light, or if we get a cigar and we need a light, whatever it is. You understand? Like, that's just the type of guy I am. And that's how I get dressed like, you know, like Batman. You ever see in the movies where Rambo's getting ready? He puts his knife and he gets
montage.
And then he fucking ties up his boots and shit. Exactly. That's me. I'm getting dressed. I put the shades on. I put the knife. I put the fucking the lighter in the other pocket. You get what I'm saying? Like, these things come standard. This guy, look.
Yeah,
You
put
know
the
what I'm
bandana on and shit.
These things come standard. You understand? But that's because of who I am. I'm not doing this to impress the female. You understand? I'm not going out of my way to hold doors for females because it's the female. I do that because that's how I do my thing.
Yeah.
Period. And like I told guys, if I'm out with my mother, if I'm out with my sister, if I'm out with my niece, it's the same thing.
Same thing.
Their safety is now my responsibility automatically. You understand? And I don't ask any questions because that's simply how I feel. Period. You understand that? But some guys don't do that because some guys are like, man, I ain't doing all this shit for these hoes. These hoes is hoes. But see, here's the thing. I don't even go out with hoes, bro. I don't know what that means.
I wish I had like a bomb sound. I have to get that sound effect. Yeah, that's a bomb right there. I don't date hoes.
I don't date hoes.
But that doesn't stop you from being hoes together with your partner at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to K Zagger.
Shout out to K Zaggin. Let's be hoes together. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Real, like, because the thing with me is usually because I have that you know, I have a level or a standard about the way I carry myself. Even sometimes I'll meet girls who are hoes and they won't opt for the second date simply because they realize, man, I can't fuck with this dude. He's on a different level that I'm not ready to be on yet. And I've had that happen to me. You understand what I'm saying? But then I've had the opposite where I've had women who they're always ready and willing to spend time with me because when they're with me, they can actually be feminine. They can actually be women, and they feel different being with me. And that's what I seek to provide because that's a part of who I am. You get what I'm saying? But a lot of guys, they open doors and they bring flowers or they make sure the woman is protected because they're like, yeah, I want to get that pussy later. Mm-hmm. And I'm like
looking at it as a down payment on the pussy, yeah.
Exactly. And I'm like, no, I already got the pussy. Whether she physically fucks me or not, I already got the pussy. You understand what I'm saying? That's literally how I feel. Like, shout out to Steve the Dean because he says that. But I already feel like I'm intimate. Like I have that intimate connection with her already. Like I'm already making the juices flow, you know, under that skirt already.
Right.
So the standard is already there, but the standard comes from me. The standard has nothing to do with the female, and that's what a lot of guys don't truly understand.
So yeah, I don't understand, Chris. I make sure to never open doors for beaches except when they're directly. Well, when the hell else would you open the door?
Yeah, I like to go looking for doors and women that just, you know, when I see a door that doesn't have a woman going through it, I like to, you know, even if they ain't going there, get your ass in the door. Well, I'm a gentleman, motherfucker.
Okay.
So I never make sure to open door for bitches except for when they're directly behind. I guess if they're directly in front, they're on their own then, I guess.
Right. See, I wanted to bring up Discord Sin's comment. She said, I can't stand men who feel entitled to ask just because they do nice things. You understand? And you know, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I want women to understand, or people in general to understand that there's a difference between doing nice things and then doing things because that's what you do. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? That's two different things. Like, I don't shave my head because I want everybody else to like how my head looks. I shave my head because I like how it looks. Now, if you end up liking how it looks, that's you know, like I said, icing on the cake, right? But I do my hair the way I do my hair because I like it. You understand? And same way, I like to have a woman's welfare and protection be my responsibility because that's how I like it to be. You understand? I'm not doing it because, oh, she's so cute and I want to be with her and I want her to like me and I want her to give me the ass later. Nah, it's never like that. It's never like that. I do the shit because, you know, and that's why I never really liked the term nice guy. You understand? I never liked that term because nice guy implies that I'm attempting to be nice so you will like me or so I can gain some type of trust or favor.
That also implies that I'm a pushover.
Or right, exactly. I prefer the term good man. You understand? Because there's right and like based on my moral compass, there's right and there's wrong. And I'm gonna do what's right based on what I think is right, simply because in my mind it's the right thing to do. Not because I'm looking to win favor with you. You understand? Because I've already made the choice what's the right thing for me to do on a date before I even met you. You understand? So these things are gonna get done regardless. You understand? Now, if we go any further than the first date, then that's you showing that you deserve more and so on and so forth. But there's always a basic standard that I think, you know, as men, we need to look into. And I don't think every man should have the same basic standard. So some of these guys in the chat talking about they don't hold doors and they don't do this. Yo, that's your right. You understand? But my thing is, I don't want to see you out on a date all of a sudden holding doors just because she got a fat ass and she looked like she's straight off of Instagram. You understand? And then when you take out a girl who you consider, you know, a 5 or a 6, you're not holding no doors. You're just walking in front of her and acting like you don't give a fuck if she's standing there or not. You get what I'm saying? And that's the part that kills me.
To that too, yeah. There's like a pedestalizing or a tier type system, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm like,
I do these nice things because she's Sally and not because she's a big fat hurt and a big pig. She's on her own.
Yo, look, I went out with a chick who was she was a doctor, anesthesiologist. I had another woman who was a nurse practitioner. And then I had another chick who all she did was Instacart and fucking Uber Eats. And all of them got the same fucking treatment. You understand what I'm saying? I invited all of them to the same wine bar. We all had basically the same glass of wine or whatever they ordered. We sat and we talked. And it was basically the same situation. I held open the doors. I paid for the drinks, all that type of shit. You get what I'm saying? But that's because it's me. And to me, that's not a hopeless romantic gesture. Those are not romantic gestures. Those are simply the standard. You understand the standard that I conduct when I'm on any date. Right? You know, and I don't ever want a woman trying to say, oh, he's so romantic because he opening doors. And if that's the case, then I don't know, the standards or qualities that you're used to as a woman are probably not, you know, are different from what I provide. You get what I'm saying? But again, that's what I'm trying to give the woman, a taste of the difference of what it is to be with me. Because I feel that I am different from most dudes. You see what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
I like Jungle Strut's comment.
Right. I mean, we always talk about be different than everybody else. I mean, if you're the same shit, that kind of like we said earlier, the definition of insanity. If you're just like everybody else, then how do you expect to get anything different than, you know, all the people who are exactly the same? You know,
right?
Exactly. Who you are as a man and the way that you conduct yourself. I mean, like you're saying, I mean, be unapologetic for it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. If that's how you do you, that's how you do you.
Right.
Like you're saying, don't fake it, and don't do things with expectation in return.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I like Jungle Split's comment here. A good man is not a harmless man. A good man is a lethal man who has it under moral control. I like that. And
that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because I'm not any of that stuff that I'm doing as a good man is not to win favor. Right. You understand? Because if it's for me winning favor, it doesn't make sense. Why? Because I'm already good. Me considering myself a good man, that's me already bestowing favor on myself. You know, that whole truth is inside you, self-love and all that shit. I don't need the adulation from the female. I'm doing these things because that's what my definition of good is, and so I do that.
Yeah.
You understand that you see, and it says a good man is a lethal man. You understand? Because me knowing exactly who I am, I have the ability to do all that underhanded shit too. I have the ability to lie. I have the ability to say, oh girl, I want a serious relationship and I don't want to deal with nobody else out here. I have the ability to do all those things. But at the same time, is that my definition of good? No, it's not. So I'm gonna do what I do. But the thing is, I'm capable, but I have it under control. Just like Jungle Stretch said, that's a really good comment, man. That's a really good comment.
I like that. And this is kind of what we talk about too when we talk about guys being entitled. Like Chris the Player, I mean, I don't know him. I've seen him in here a few times, but women feel way too entitled nowadays. Hence why I don't open or hold doors for them. And then this is my question to him: they should hold it for me. Why? Why should they hold it for you?
Because I'm Chris and I'm the player. All right, so we got a call here. Area code 347. Who we talking to on the Man Who's a Skill Set show?
That shitty attitude.
Yo, what's going on, man? This is your boy Crazy Mike here. Or fact, no caps. What it do, Miles?
What up, man?
I'm sorry, who we got? Crazy. You said Crazy Mike?
Crazy Mike, no cap.
My name Crazy Mike. Y'all got a donate button?
Yeah, we got it. So are we on KZAG and 20? There's super chat turned on. See, I haven't even been looking. But yeah, you can always cash app Chairman Siege. That's C with three E's.
Put it in the thing. Put it in the.
Hold on.
But yeah, but my brothers, I do want to mention something, and thank you for the 5 content, Miles. Thank you for the game as always. But
Yes,
I want to mention something real quick. You know, at first I used to blame a lot of young men for being hopeless romantics, but I want to get your opinion on something. What do you think how society and kind of like mothers play a role? Because I noticed something, y'all, and I'm not saying this in a hateful way, but I've had relations like with single moms, for example, of just co-workers, and it's like they teach their sons to be simps to the point where you're just like, man, why you telling your son to be the type of man that you yourself wouldn't date? And then also, when you see all these guys online saying that you got to have $100,000 just to be able to talk to a human being, so it's like, you know, I think also the media sometimes, no father figure in the home. I think those two things play a role as well.
Facts.
Definitely have contributed from a personal standpoint. I can definitely attest to that. I felt my journey to manhood was retarded in a couple of ways. I'm not saying that in a politically incorrect way. That is a real word, retarded. I feel like my growth as a man was retarded in a way. I had to learn a lot of shit the hard way because my relationship with my father at that time was not what I needed it to be as a young man. So there's definitely some truth to that, brother. Still there, bro?
Yeah. Hello?
Crazy Mike. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Now I just want to say, a part of the reason, you know, I don't know all the reasons because I'm not a woman or a single parent mother, but I know that part of the reason why women kind of train their or end up training their sons to be simps is because you have to look at the condition of a single parent mother. She's basically been, you know, left and heartbroken by some man. You understand? So due to the fear of that type of shit happening again, what you'll find is that the single parent mother will, in her eyes or in her perspective, she'll try to train her son, you know, her man child, to be the type of woman that will tolerate more than the average man, that will, you know, stick it out, so to speak, right? So ultimately training him to be a hopeless romantic, meaning that even if the situation is bad, he's not going to see it because he's going to try to continue on with the horrible relationship, and he's not going to try to check the chick. He's not going to try to give her any game to help improve her, and he's not going to work on himself necessarily either, right? Because his mom has just been telling him, oh, it's be a nice guy, do this for women, be good, be this, be that. You understand? And at the end of the day, the child comes up not having an actual masculine or moral compass of his own because he's just been basically, you know, indoctrinated into that, you know, feminine emotional world of fear. Because she's telling him all of this out of fear. She's not telling him, look, be a man with standards. Do what's right for you. Don't take any crap from a woman. No, she's telling him the opposite. She's like, be flexible, be understanding, be compassionate, be whatever a woman needs you to be, because that's what I wanted your father to do, and he didn't do it. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's the type of frame that she's in, you know, the mental frame that she's in. So she's bestowing that same thing onto her son through the level of fear. You get what I'm saying?
Man, that's deep right there. Now, y'all make a video about that. That's some Jordan Peterson level shit right there, brother.
Appreciate you.
That's facts, man. Thanks,
bro.
Absolutely.
His second. What was your second point? You said the first one was why they trained their sons to be that way, and what was the second one you said?
Yeah, like I'm gonna give you an example, brothers. There was this big content creators, and they was on a podcast, and they were talking about how men should be more sentimental and in their feelings. So that's why I feel like society in a way plays a role as well. Because here's the thing, and I'm not saying this to talk down on women. That's not what we do out here. But sometimes I don't know when women are saying that they want a nice, vulnerable guy. You know, are they saying that because that's what they mean, or because they know those are the sense? Because here's my thing. I don't know if you guys ever experienced this. You ever been on a date with a girl and she starts asking you about your problems? And I'm like, why are you asking me this? You know, so when I hear girls say, oh, because, you know, I want a man that's vulnerable, you don't want a man that just talks about his problems all day. But at the end of the day, like I said before on some of Lothario's videos, them bring in a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like, in a way, you see a lot of the conditioning, too, in colleges, in movies, around friends and stuff like that, too. So I think that plays a role.
Right.
I think a lot of women say they want a man who is vulnerable. I think what they're really saying is that they want that man in their life to be vulnerable to them. You know what I'm saying? And so being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness either. But you can't be vulnerable to everyone, because you will be perceived as weak. Exactly. If all you're going around is just complaining about your shit. That's different. I mean, you could be handling your shit, but behind the scenes you struggling with something that's very important to the success of that thing that you're working on, and you need to expose that vulnerability to. You might be something that's intrinsic. Yeah, I'm not hitting it right because I'm not feeling right about myself. I need to kind of expose this issue and kind of help resolve it because it's for the greater good. It's for the greater good. Mm-hmm. That's not being vulnerable in that context, meaning. Okay, I need help. I need to just bounce an idea off you. I need to reveal to you that I'm not going to reveal to everybody else on something that's really important to me. Right. Those are examples of being vulnerable that don't necessarily mean weakness. Mm-hmm. You still have to being vulnerable. You still have to have the strength to handle your business. You still have to complete whatever it is that you got to complete. Right. Nothing wrong with admitting fear and all that, but you still have to address it and overcome. That's how you grow. That's how you get better in the next level of your life, whatever it is that you're pursuing. Right. So there's no shame in being vulnerable, but you have to be judicious about who you share your vulnerability with. Man, that was fire.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with that 110%. But like, still, brothers, it's like at the end of the day, like I told you, and yeah, you're right. You got to be selective. But it's just like, if somebody I just met or somebody I only knew for like a month or two, now you asking,
you know what I'm saying?
Bro. To me, that's like, nah, this sounds like a manipulator. Nah, hell no. I ain't falling for that trap.
No, listen, I'm gonna tell you something else about that vulnerability stuff with when women say it. We have to remember, women. There's a difference between what women say based on how they feel in the moment and what they ultimately want at the end of the day. All right. Because truth be told, at the end of the day, a woman wants a guy that still has everything together. You understand? At the end of the day, a woman wants a man who's strong. A woman wants a man who, has certain standards, has a certain level of integrity, discipline, and he's consistent. Why? Because she wants to be able to freely depend on him. You understand? Now, there are times when a woman is seeking for a man to be vulnerable, but it really has more to do with how she's feeling in that moment. You understand? She's because a woman usually has a certain level of vulnerability to her. You understand? That's simply the nature of a woman. A woman is here to nurture. A woman, she has a lot of like her almost her entire relationship with nature and with the world is reactionary, right? When she meets a man and he impregnates her, her reaction is to get pregnant and carry a baby for 9 months. A woman's reaction to the world when it comes to like her, her menstruals and, all these different things, right? A woman has a very reactionary existence with the rest of the world. So when she's dealing with a a man and she feels a certain way, at different times she'll say, oh man, I'm looking for a guy that's vulnerable, because she's looking for a reason or a part of that, you know, companionship where she can identify with the man that she's with. You understand? So she wants a certain part of him to be vulnerable to her, but she doesn't want a vulnerable man. You understand what I'm saying? She doesn't necessarily want a vulnerable man, but she wants a man that has the strength to show certain levels of vulnerability. You get what I'm saying? So when she says that, she wants a guy who can articulate and express his feelings, but don't get it twisted. She's not looking for you to let your feelings begin to dictate your decision making and your masculinity and all of that type of shit. No. She wants you to be able to, you know, sit with her and talk and say, yeah, you know, sometimes I feel like this, you know, sometimes I have, you know, issues with expressing myself because, you know, my dad used to beat me when we were little, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So she wants you to be able to to verbalize and be able to articulate and express yourself in certain ways. But does she want you to fucking break down crying and say, oh, my dad used to abuse me and my brothers. And today I was at work and I just started crying in front of my boss in the boardroom meeting, and I think I might have lost my job. And what am I going to do next? And I don't know. You think that's going on for me?
Just hold me. Yeah, that should be real old, real quick. You know?
She just want you to be.
I think you can do it.
She just wants you to be able to kind of identify with your emotional side from time to time. You understand? But that's about it. If she don't want you to start crying with her. You understand? She wants you to be vulnerable enough so you can put your arm around her and say and show empathy. Not just sympathy, but empathy, meaning, hey, I understand what you're going through. Don't worry about it. But at the end of the day, what she really wants is a man to say, I understand what you're going through, but I got the both of us. You understand? She wants to feel that strength. She wants to feel that security. You understand? With a guy that has it all together, but certain points in time, he can express his own vulnerabilities.
Like Sin said,
All right, got it.
women and men want a connection on a deeper level with others, not deal with emotional instability. You know? Very well said.
Well, anyway, brother, thank you so much. But there is one time when I do show vulnerability, and that is when she starts using too much teeth. I'll be like, yo, come on, baby, you can't be doing that. I think that's a good time for vulnerability. Right? But anyway, brothers, y'all have a good day. Thank y'all for the colors.
Yes, sir. You too, man. Be safe out there, bro.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? That's the call, baby. We ain't taking no more calls after that. Obi, your time is closed, bro. Obi, you can't call now. No, we shut that down. You can't follow that, man.
Facts. Oh, that's too much teeth. I'm a little vulnerable right now. Your teeth is cutting into it, baby.
You can't follow that, man. Wow. Matter of fact, you know what I'm saying? Let's just end that on a high note and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
I think today's show, you know, without Carrie and shit, we held it down. Miles, can't thank you again enough for kicking with us on Manhood is a Skill Set show, man.
Yep.
Little programming note. Next Saturday is September 11th, and it's not going to be on the KZAG and 20 show, but we're going to broadcast on our Love Life's comedy, dusting that old YouTube page off, and having a conversation with a young man named Gerald Tucker, who was at the Pentagon with me on 9/11. So we're going to talk about those experiences and kind of about where, you know, over the last 20 years where we've been and shit. You know,
Okay.
Tuck and I, this will be our third time trying to get this episode out and shit. But we're definitely going to hit it live. So if you're interested, check us out on the Love Life's Comedy YouTube channel. That's next Saturday. Same time, it's going to be normal time, but just won't be on the KZAG and 20 page. It'll be on the Love Life's Comedy. Other than that, like I said, don't forget to check out the Love Life's Comedy podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, all them shits.
All right.
Miles, anything you want to
yeah, real quick. I just made Unique 79 and True Savage moderators. I figured out how to do it. I hit the 3 dots on the chat, the live chat, and I figured out how to do it. So Unique 79 and True Savage are moderators on my channel now. So appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me. Remember to check out the Bad Boy membership. Go to badboymembership.com, get on the membership, or go to my Instagram, Miles in the Game, and link is in the bio to set up a 60-minute consultation with me. We can talk about game, life, finances, women, whatever you want to talk about real quick. And guys, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, man, it was a great show, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate that. And yeah, support that Bad Boy membership, man. Game changers, bro. That's some good shit, fam. Yep, Dave, what you got, fam?
Appreciate you. I'm same old shit. Find me on everything. Just DISORDR. Twitch is a new thing that I'm trying to get a little bit more involved with. You can find me there on Twitch. I'll come up with a banner next time we come on here so we can have all that.
That's what's up.
Other than that, man, hope everybody has a fantastic holiday weekend. Stay safe.
For sure.
All right.
Join us. Hold on. I got to put the banner up for the show. Of course, we're the Love Lives Comedy. We're every Saturday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. And since Carrie ain't here, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Join us next. Well, you can join us next Saturday on Love Lives Comedy. And then the following, you can join us here. You bloody well better be there. Bloody well better be there. We will see y'all bright and early. We love y'all, fam. Peace out.
All right. Peace.
All right.